This video of a mother and daughter talking about their OnlyFans accounts will blow your mind. It's proof of how far from God our Western culture has fallen, and it has eerie similarities with one of the most disturbing stories in the whole Bible. But there's also a little bit of hope here, which we'll get to. But first, let's watch the video.
How do you both feel about your mom opening up an account?
I think it's great. I always just tell her I wish she waited a little bit because she started it right after I did. But yeah, it doesn't bother me at all.
It bothered me that she was getting backlash for owning her own sexuality and her being a woman and doing what she wanted to do. And that's why I joined it. I didn't understand it before, and then I quickly learned. But that's ultimately why I did it. And I kind of made a sort of a joke about it. I posted something when she did join, people were making comments, because it's hard because she's so young, and she was 19 or 18 when she joined.
I just turned 18 when I started.
She was 18 years old.
It was
and
crazy.
I thought, oh my gosh, for her at 18 to have people have negative comments about her, it really bothered me.
There's a lot to unpack in that, but let me show you this crazy, disturbing Bible story that I think it's the thing that comes to mind whenever I watch that. It's in 2 Kings chapter 6. Basically, this is where the nation of Israel, like the Israel as we think of it, the 12 tribes, after the death of Solomon, it splits in half, not quite half. 10 tribes go to the north, 2 stay in the south. The northern section becomes the nation of Israel. It's confusing to keep that name. The southern part becomes Judah. They have Jerusalem. They stay faithful to God for a little bit longer, but the northern section abandon God really, really quickly. And then the Assyrians come, they take them away, and then whenever like a load of years pass, they intermarry, they get sent back. That's where we get the Samaritans from, this like hybrid of Jewish and Assyrian people. But this story is wild. You might not know it, it doesn't get a lot of screen time, but let's have a look. Afterward, Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, mustered his entire army and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria as they besieged it, until a donkey's head was sold for 80 shekels of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 shekels of silver. I assume, like, if I was around in the time that this was written, that probably would have meant something to me. I'd been like, oh wow, 80 shekels of silver for a donkey's head? I can go down and buy one for 10. I don't know. Now, as the king of Israel was passing by on the wall, this was Jehoram, the son of Ahab. Bad dude. As he was passing by on the wall, a woman cried out to him, saying, "Help, my lord, O king." And he said, "If the Lord will not help you, how shall I help you? From the threshing floor or from the winepress? Like, where am I going to get food for you? There isn't any." And the king answered her, "What is your trouble?" She answered, okay, this is crazy. "This woman said to me," okay, so presumably there's a second woman with her, "Give your son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow." So we boiled my son and ate him. And on the next day I said to her, "Give your son that we may eat him," but she has hidden her son. It says, when the king heard these words, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and he said, "May God do to me more and more also, if the head of Elisha, son of Shaphat, remains on his shoulders today." He blames Elisha. The blame lay elsewhere. But I think this is a great example of how somebody can be both a victim of and a perpetrator of evil. So this woman was a victim of evil because she lived in a culture that had rejected God. She had been conditioned in that culture, and so she had fallen really far from God. This was the way that the world in the time was at the minute. The people were being besieged because they'd fallen away from God. And so in some way she's a victim, but she's also a perpetrator of evil. She's saying to the king, "Yo, like, I've got a problem here. And the problem is that we said, like, the deal I made with this woman was we'd eat my son yesterday, her son today, but she's backed out of this deal." And so it is wrong to like not follow through on your word. As a general principle, it's good to follow through on doing the things that you say you're going to do. If you don't do that, that's a little bit of a problem. Jesus said, "Let your yes be yes and your no be no." But the bigger problem here is surely that they've eaten her son and she wants to eat another kid. It's mad. And that is what made me think of this video of Denise Richards and her daughter, who Charlie Sheen's ex-wife, Charlie Sheen from 2.5 Men, that she was saying it's awful that these people online are saying negative things about my daughter. And that's right, we need to not say negative things about each other online because that's not very nice. But surely the bigger problem is that your daughter just turned 18 and starts an OnlyFans. Like, how she can't see that that is the bigger moral issue here, that the trolls pale in comparison to that. It blows my mind. It shows that she is someone who has been conditioned by a culture that says this is what it means to be a woman, as she says, and to celebrate your sexuality. This is good and right. This is a good thing to do. And so you become conditioned by that culture, and then you perpetuate that culture, and then you can't see how wicked and evil it is. Now, this story here, just like that, there is background to it. It would be remiss of me not to mention it. In Deuteronomy 28, you've got this scene where it's really, really cool, actually. The nation of Israel go up, and like half of them go up on one mountain and half go up on the other mountain. They're these twin mountains, and God says, like, here's what's going to happen to you if you obey my covenant, all of these awesome, wonderful things. And then here's what's going to happen to you if you break my covenant, all of these awful things. And in this section on like what's going to happen if you break the covenant, it says enemies are going to come against you. You're going to be besieged. You shall eat the fruit of your womb, the flesh of your sons and daughters whom the Lord has given you, in the siege and in the distress with which your enemies shall distress you. So God said, like, these are going to be the consequences if you abandon me. You're going to eat your kids. And sure enough, 2 Kings chapter 6, with Elisha, the main dude, being the main prophet there at that time, 2 Kings chapter 6, this is what happens. And the woman can't see how evil and wicked this is. Now, I need to be careful that like this doesn't come off as like self-righteous or proud, or like the story Jesus tells of the religious leader who's like, oh God, thank you that I'm not like them. There's a really great and humbling phrase. I can't remember, I don't know who said it. Probably not someone alive, because it's quite like old Englishy wordy. It says, but for the grace of God, there go I. It's a way of saying like, if it weren't for the grace of God, that would be me. And I think that's a really helpful attitude to have whenever we see something like this. Yes, this mother and daughter talking about their OnlyFans and be like, oh, I wish you hadn't started so soon after me. Like, that is wicked. The fact that they can't see the evil in that, the fact that for them the issue is people were saying mean things about me online. It is wild. It is such strong evidence that our culture is so messed up and so depraved, but for the grace of God, that would be me. God has justified me, he's sanctified me, so that that's not me, but it could have been. I'm able to see that's bad. God has rescued me from a way of life and thinking that could have led to that. Probably wouldn't have, like, that specific thing, but it would have gone down that path. God has, as a Christian, he's justified me, he's rescued me from that, so that then I can show that to others. And so we need to pray for people in these situations, not like look down on them and think you suck, I'm more righteous than you, but think you need Jesus. I did say there's hope in that, and the hope is that one of the other girls at the start of the video, they're like, what do you two, like, what do your daughters think of this? Daughters, plural. One of the daughters there is Lola Sheen, daughter of Charlie Sheen and her sister, who recently became a Christian and has talked very openly about her faith. So the fact that God is breaking into that situation is just really exciting, and shows that the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. That Jesus is building his church, and the gates of hell won't prevail against it. That there's no darkness that the kingdom of light can't infiltrate. And so rather than sitting as these kingdom soldiers looking into the darkness, being like, oh, sucks to be those guys, let's wisely and discerningly, in a way that's suitable for our gifts and our strengths and weaknesses, let's go in and bring the light. If you want to know a little bit more about this, about OnlyFans being a huge scam, then one of these videos I think will be about that. So feel free to check those out. But look, thanks for being here, and I will see you soon. God bless.